Okay, welcome to First Friday, which, because of the horrible weather that we had last Friday, is the second Friday of this month. Can I take off the mask? Okay, this is better, isn't it? You can hear me better. Well, we know Deanna Witkowski very well. She actually played here at Redeemer last August, and it was wonderful to hear her, and I've gotten to know her well. We're planning at Duquesne to have her do some things there too. She is very, very well known. I'll just read a little bit from her bio here. Witkowski's explosive performances combine virtuosity and heart, telling stories that reveal her innate curiosity of the human condition. Her albums range from powerhouse arrangement of Cole Porter standards, such as Wide Open Window, Length of Days, to sparkling trio reimaginings of traditional hymns. Makes the heart to sing, and jazz hymns, to solo piano that blurs the lines between Brazilian, jazz, and classical, raindrop improvisations with Chopin. Witkowski has recorded with Grammy nominee, and a number of them. She is dedicated to bringing communities together through jazz. Witkowski has worked as a guest music leader in over 100 churches across the United States. Her weekly video series, Off the Page, Sacred Jazz, shares practical resources for church musicians, and her jazz hymn arrangements have been purchased by over 500 churches. The reason that she came to Pittsburgh and is in the doctoral program at the University of Pittsburgh was to follow the steps of her mentor, Mary Lou Williams. She has written a biography about Mary Lou, and so she's in her second year as a doctoral student in jazz studies at the University of Pittsburgh. So welcome, and we look forward to her performances.
Thank you, Anne. Well, it's really a pleasure to be here, and I'm going to do a combination of a few different styles of music this afternoon. I'm going to start with a piece by Mary Lou Williams, and this is something that she wrote in 1944. It's called Lonely Moments. Thank you. So I recorded that piece along with about 10 or 11 other Mary Lou Williams pieces on a new recording that just came out. I'm super excited about this, so I'm going to show it, called Force of Nature. And this is on the MCG Jazz Manchester Craftsmen's Guild record label here in Pittsburgh. And I'm going to tell you a little story about this cover. So those of you at least in the room, you can probably sort of make this out. You can also see it at my website, but this is my handwriting, and it says Force of Nature, which is the title track of the album. And the story is that I got the title before I moved to Pittsburgh. I came here for about 7 weeks in the fall of 2019. I was doing research for the book and just decided I wanted to spend more than like 3 days here at a time. And one of the nights I was here, I was playing with local musicians a lot, and I was playing at Con Alma in Shadyside. And one of the owners and the music curator there, guitarist John Shannon, just made this comment to me and said, "Deanna, you're a force of nature." And I thought, I think that sounds like a title to something. So I went back to where I was renting a room in Morningside, and I used Post-it notes a lot. And especially when I was writing the book, and then I would be rearranging the Post-it notes, for figuring out structure and things like that of the chapters. And so I just wrote on a Post-it note, Force of Nature, and I stuck it on the mirror. And then later on that fall, I met with Marty Ashby over at Manchester Craftsmen's Guild, and he was asking me how my book research was going on my biography of Mary Lou, and I said, great. And it's really a shame I don't have a recording of her music. So Marty said, oh, we should do something about that. And I thought, I think this is the title of the record. I didn't have the song written yet. But because I think of Mary Lou Williams has been a force in my own life, and I think of how she was very determined to follow her own artistic vision and to get people on board with what she really wanted to see happen. And she created networks of friends. I mean, she has a super interesting story. She converted to Catholicism in midlife, and she went on many spiritual retreats and would often befriend nuns at the places where she went on retreats, and has all this amazing letter correspondence with nuns. And so I just thought, I want to write a piece called Force of Nature for Mary Lou Williams, which became the title of the record, and it's also the piece I'm going to play for you now. So this is Force of Nature. Thank you. So I also want to mention about on the recording on Force of Nature, I'm playing with two different rhythm sections. My longtime trio from New York. Actually, my bass player now lives in Austin, Texas, but we all managed to come together. The whole recording really got delayed, of course, with the pandemic, but it was pretty amazing that it got to happen at all. And a great trumpet player from Rochester, Clay Jenkins, came down and played with us on several pieces. And then I also played on 3 tracks with really great musicians here in Pittsburgh, with Roger Humphreys on drums and Dwayne Dolphin on bass. So I'm really, really excited to have the recording out, because part of the reason I wanted that I wrote the book was on Mary Lou Williams, was so that people would then go and put down the book and seek out her music. So I'm really excited about it. So one thing that Mary Lou did a lot was she wrote a lot of sacred music in the latter half of her life, after she converted to Catholicism at the age of 47 in 1957. And I've also written a lot of sacred music. I used to be a music director at an Episcopal church in New York City. And that's where I really started writing music for weekly services, weekly liturgies. And I also love arranging hymn tunes. So I have another recording called Makes the Heart to Sing that Anne referenced, that's all classic hymn tunes. And this is one of those arrangements. This is Lord, I Want to Be a Christian. I'm going to do another one of my hymn arrangements. So, that particular arrangement of Lord, I Want to Be a Christian, I did originally write to be like an instrumental piece. But most of the hymn arrangements I've done, I wrote for congregations to sing so that we could say, turn in your hymnal 1982 or whatever denomination of church it might be, and turn to page so and so and just sing the melody. Please don't sing the harmony, because I'm changing the chords a lot. So but we also would often introduce the arrangements by playing them instrumentally in a service. So this is one of those that I actually have two different versions of. One where sometimes if I'm working in a church just for one service, we don't add bars or extend things so people can just sing what they're used to singing. But this is a hymn tune that I've always enjoyed playing, and I really enjoyed reharmonizing. So this is the Welsh tune FirstFrday, and if you know certain text to it, one of the most well-known ones is Love Divine, All Loves Excelling. So this next piece I'm going to sing, and I'm going to adjust my microphone for a second. So a few years ago, in the pre-COVID days, I'm trying to tighten this, and I hope I'm doing this the right way. Okay, I was doing a tour with my trio in a few southern states, and one of them was in South Carolina, and there was a Presbyterian church there that asked me, they commissioned me to write a piece for a treble choir that they had there, of students that were all, I believe they were all 4th and 5th graders. And their director she said, well, I know you do hymn arrangements, so could you maybe either do a new arrangement of His Eye is on the Sparrow, which is a tune that was written in like 1915, and the lyrics are by Sevilla Martin, and super well-known kind of standard. And she said, or if you want, maybe you could write a new tune with the lyrics. And I thought, there's probably 128 arrangements of His Eye is on the Sparrow for choirs, and I really, I'm not sure. So especially doing a choral arrangement, it was a 2-part arrangement. I thought I really need to figure out how to get inside of this text if I'm going to do anything with it. And I was never a super big fan of the piece, to be perfectly honest. And so I started just looking at the words, and and the refrain, the I sing because I am happy, I sing because I am free, just really spoke to me. So I decided that was going to be my focal point of the new piece I was going to write with this text. So we did this, I can't remember now, maybe 4 years ago, and there's actually, you can watch a video of this on YouTube. I love watching it because the girls did such a great job, but there's a little girl standing in the front row, and she's quite short compared to everyone else in her row, and she's just moving back and forth through the whole piece. It's so this is my new setting of that Sevilla Martin text, to His Eye is on the Sparrow. Why should I feel discouraged? Why should the shadows come? Why should my heart be lonely and long for heaven and home? When Jesus is my portion, my constant friend is He. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. Let not your heart be troubled, His tender word I hear, and resting on His goodness, I lose my doubt and fear. Though by the path He leadeth, but one step I may see. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. I sing because I am happy, and I sing because I am free. For His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. His eye is on the sparrow. Whenever I am tempted, whenever clouds arise, when songs give place to sighing, when hope within me dies, draw the closer to him. From care he sets me free. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. I sing because I am happy, and I sing because I am free. For his eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. His eye is on the sparrow. Let not your heart be troubled. His eye is on the sparrow. Thank you. So I really, I'm just going to put this out there. I really want to find more choirs to do this piece. And so if you have ideas of choirs in the Pittsburgh area or anywhere else, wherever you may be watching from, who might be interested, I would love to share this piece. And I'm checking where I'm at time-wise. Okay. So going back to Mary Lou Williams for a moment, one of her most well-known pieces is something she wrote in 1945, a suite of 12 movements called the Zodiac Suite, so each movement for a different sign of the zodiac. And she also did a couple of different orchestral versions of this piece. Their trio recording was actually inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2019, and speaking of Grammys, this just happened. So a couple of days ago, I did an interview recently. I was interviewed with two other artists about Mary Lou Williams, and there's a new article up on her at Grammy.com that you can check out. There's a link from my website at deannajazz.com to that. But just really talking about Mary Lou's music. But her Zodiac Suite has kind of had a resurgence in the last few years. There's several pianists who have been playing it. And I created new arrangements of 3 of the movements for my trio to play on Force of Nature. So I am going to play just one of them now. It's really short, but to me, one of the cool things in it is I don't know what she had in her mind when she was writing this, but the middle section sounds like a train to me. So it just always feels that movement kind of happens. So this is Mary Lou Williams's Taurus. Super different, right? Quite. That one of the big things to me. I'll hold up the book so you can see it too. This is, the reason. Well, I got into Mary Lou Williams over 20 years ago in 2000 when someone who had been a good friend of hers, the late pianist and educator Dr. Billy Taylor, who was the artistic advisor for jazz at the Kennedy Center for many years, invited me to bring my group to perform at a festival that still exists today called the Mary Lou Williams Festival at the Kennedy Center. And I mean, of course, said yes, I would love to do that. But I also, the second thought I had was, I don't know any of Mary Lou Williams's music, so I think I should learn something since I'm playing on this festival dedicated to her. And this is really what started this over 20-year journey. There was a new biography then. There's 3 biographies of her now. Mine is the 3rd, but there was a new one then called Morning Glory by Linda Dahl. And I read that, and I found out that Mary Lou had written all this liturgical music. She wrote 3 jazz masses, and I had just written my first jazz setting of the mass. And then I started listening to her music. I asked Dave Douglas, who was another person interviewed for this Grammy.com piece, a great trumpet player in New York, and he had just done a tribute record to Mary Lou. So I said, what recordings should I get? And he gave me some suggestions. And what I kept noticing over and over was, is this the same person playing piano? Because her style changed so much. She had a 60-year career, and she was someone who, there's certain jazz artists who, once you hear them, you hear their sound. Like I think of someone like Louis Armstrong, you get the essence of his sound, and you recognize it. And Mary Lou, I mean, I recognize her playing now because I've been immersed in it for so long, but she just really was always one step ahead of whatever innovations were happening in jazz at the time. And her music is just very stylistically broad. And she also was very rooted in the blues, no matter what she was playing. So that's one of the big things that got me really into Mary Lou. I'm going to play 2 more pieces for you. And this is going back to, so this next one is another hymn, a new setting of a hymn text. And this is on my recording called From This Place. And this is a text from the 19th century by Francis Havergal called Take My Life and Let It Be. Take my life and let it be consecrated, Lord, to Thee. Take my moments and my days, let them flow in ceaseless praise. Take my hands and let them move at the impulse of your love. Take my heart, it is your own. It shall be your royal throne. It shall be your royal throne. Take my voice and let me sing, always only for my King. Take my intellect and use every power as you no longer mine. Take myself and I will be ever only all for thee, ever only all for thee. Thank you. So I'm going to play one last piece, and before I do, I want to thank all of you who are watching on the stream online and everyone who's here in the sanctuary today, and thank you for welcoming me into your space here. I'd like to thank Lou, who's been doing taking care of sound and everything for the live stream, and also thank Anne Witkowski, who invited me to be on the series, and also the Reverend Natalie Hall. I know she's on vacation now, someplace warm, but actually today is pretty warm here in Pittsburgh, so I can't say it's like all ice and everything like it has been lately. So thank you. And I also want to mention, if you're interested in being in touch with me, you can reach me through my website, which is Deanna, DEANNA, jazz.com. And you can also find the new recording, Force of Nature, and the book, Mary Lou Williams, Music for the Soul, as well as my other recordings of jazz hymns and sacred music. And all 7 of my recordings are there. But I am going to close with, I like to close a lot of concerts where I do sacred music in the concert with this piece. So I was commissioned many years ago to set several texts for Vespers or evening services. For a friend who was doing a jazz hymnal called Swing a New Song to the Lord. My friend Bill Carter, who is a Presbyterian pastor and a jazz pianist outside of Scranton, Pennsylvania. And he put this collection together, and so I later recorded this. And this is the setting of, it's a canticle that, so Simeon, who is an old man, says when he recognizes the Christ child. So this is the Nunc Dimittis, or the Song of Simeon. Guide us waking, O Lord, and guard us sleeping, that awake we may watch with Christ, and asleep rest in his peace. Now, Lord, dismiss your servant in peace, according to your word. My own eyes, my own eyes, my own eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared. Guide us waking, O Lord, and guard us sleeping, that awake we may watch with Christ, and asleep rest in his peace. the sight, in the sight of every people, is where you have prepared your salvation, a light to reveal you to the nations, and the glory of your people, Israel. Guide us waking, O Lord, and guard us sleeping, that awake we may watch with Christ, and asleep rest in his peace. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I need to check with Lou to ask if there are any questions that have come in over the internet or on Zoom. No, we have no questions. Okay. Well, if you have a question and you were too shy to ask, you can always email me through my website at deannajazz.com. So thank you all for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Thank you.